It's Facebook Live Friday, and as Lee K. Howard tells me, we haven't even started yet, and we already have 200 viewers.
Hey, welcome to everybody on Facebook Live. Thanks for watching us, and hi from Kings Mountain.
Wow, that didn't take long.
How about that?
Yeah, they are locked in. It is 3
Clark
o'clock.
Embry is watching as well. Hey, Clark.
Hey, he's only about 50 feet away.
He's over there in the newsroom.
But thanks for joining us on a Facebook Live Friday. Brian Milam, Lee K. Howard, and tonight we begin the unofficial start to the UK basketball season. You know it. You've come to know it as Big Blue Madness. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, I always think that is one of the biggest, if not the biggest spectacles in all of college. Pep rally, absolutely. I don't think Snoop Dogg is going to be there tonight, but it still should be one of the best in all of college basketball.
We'll take Snoop Cat. Snoop Dogg was a little raucous in Lawrence, Kansas last week. You will not see any semblance of what happened at the University of Kansas for their kickoff or tip-off to the season. But it's a lot of fun. And one of the things that I look forward to, the kids dance, the kids play around, whatever, but the video presentations we see, several years ago, they turned the court into a green screen. And they put the championship banners and the signatures. That was cool. Florida copied it. But for the kids, for the fans, it is every year something. It's the same, but it's also very different.
Yeah, that's what I like. They always try to almost one-up themselves. We've seen Michael Buffer there in the past. We've seen Drake there in the past. We've seen them do different little things. They kind of keep that same format, but they also try to keep some of it a little bit of a mystery, so we don't know exactly what that new wrinkle might be tonight. But we know of a couple of things that will happen that always happen. Of course, Matthew Mitchell's going to come out and dance.
What will he dance to
we don't know. John Calipari will get up there and give his State of the Program address, which also kind of doubles as a recruiting pitch to some of those prospective Wildcats that are in the audience. But it should be a good time.
I don't think John Calipari can ever have a better line than "We don't play college basketball.
We are
college."
Yeah.
That might be the greatest line of Cal's State of the Commonwealth speeches that he's given in the last decade.
What about the gold standard? We are the gold standard. That was another one from Big Blue
That was
Madness.
the first one.
Was it?
That was the first big statement Cal said, we are the gold standard. But for me, we don't play college basketball. We are college basketball.
So
that's deep, man.
What's the line tonight? What does he say? Any guesses?
Number 9 is coming home.
Oh, he's going to say that. He's going
to Lexington.
The season will be 40-0. Mark it down. That's what he's going to say.
That would be great. That would be great.
I doubt it.
We're going to cut this Facebook Live a little short, so we've got about 10 minutes to go. So if you have a question or a comment, Lee K. Howard is patrolling the Facebook Live. We've got football tomorrow with the Cats and the Razorbacks of Arkansas, must-win game. But I want to go more into Big Blue Madness a little bit because for the kids, this is a huge recruiting pitch.
It is.
And you were going to hear later on when we get to our newscasts, Khalil Whitney said, this was, I had committed, was still kind of unsure about some things. I come to Big Blue Madness, and then I'm completely sold. If Mitch Barnhart hires you and it's true that fans fire you, fans can also recruit you.
Yes.
And Rupp Arena did a great job of recruiting Khalil Whitney, at least sealing the deal, but it also helps. And throughout the years, this thing's been going on for about 33 years. Joe B. Hall had the first one. It was Midnight Madness. But it has grown into a production.
It really has, and you're exactly right. It is a recruiting pitch of a night for Kentucky basketball. John Calipari and the Wildcats will have several of those big-name guys in attendance tonight. It'll be their first opportunity to experience the Big Blue Nation. And for some of those guys, like you said, Khalil Whitney, one of them, it's kind of the thing that kind of seals their decision, whether or not they can handle that kind of thing. Sometimes it might push them away, but more times than not, it might, excite them into, I want to be a part of that. So that's certainly another big element of that.
I wish they would do some of what they will do tonight when they put everything blue, pregame. They've done that before, the laser shows. The UK does, I think, it could be second to none. And I don't even know if there's a close 1A or a 1B in the country that was really the first to start with the player presentations, with the music, cutting the lights. Here we go with all kinds of cool stuff. And I love it when they douse the entire Rupp Arena crowd in blue light. I just think that's cool, and I'd love to see them do that throughout the year. Even play with the blue lights on the crowd. That'd be kind of cool, too.
Well, let me give the details. The Big Blue Madness starts tonight at 7 o'clock. It's broadcast on the SEC Network.
Yep.
That's where you can watch the Big Blue Madness from start to finish on the SEC Network. But before the Madness
is Before the Madness.
Is the show called aptly Before the Madness. And it starts at 5:30, runs from 5:30 till 7 o'clock on the CW Lexington, or if you're in a different city around the state, it might air on WYMT or WHAS in Louisville, depending on where you are. If you're in Lexington or the Lexington area, it's on the CW Lexington from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. We will get you set. We'll be at Rupp Arena, get you set for the Madness that starts at 7 o'clock. And then, of course, at 11 o'clock tonight in our normal high school football show, we will have a look back at Big Blue Madness. In case you couldn't be there or don't have the SEC Network, you will be down there, and we'll have a kind of a recap of sorts of the big night.
Yeah, and it is a big night. Also a big Saturday night at Kroger Field. Arkansas comes to town. They are 2-3 on the season. The football Wildcats 2-3 on the season. This is the game. If there is a make or break game, and Mark Stoops even mentioned it earlier this week, saying, yeah, it's kind of important. When you look at where both of these teams are, Kentucky's lost 3 in a row. Arkansas has lost 3 of 4. This is a must-win for both, but certainly for the Wildcats, because if you can win it, you're back to 500, and the road to a bowl game is easier. You lose it, and man, the climb is on.
Yes, because if you lose the game against Arkansas, then you've got Georgia staring you down in the next week, and we all know what kind of an uphill battle that would be. So likely you're looking at a 5-game losing skid, and that's not anything that anybody wants, even if the schedule gets a little bit better, which it does at the second half of the schedule. The game against Arkansas is huge because that's one of those games that should be very winnable. The question is, who starts at quarterback for the Wildcats? And if it is Lynn Bowden, which a lot of people, including myself, think it will be, is that enough to beat the Razorbacks?
Well, I think for me, the question isn't necessarily who starts, but who plays the most at quarterback. Because, you know, Sawyer Smith can go out there, and Walker Wood can go out there, and you can hand it off 15 times in a row. The threat of a quick slant pass, of a timing pass downfield a little bit, that's there. But anybody can just hand it off. Sawyer could. Lynn certainly could. Walker could. But when it comes to the passing game, and there will be times that I don't think we're going to see another Matt Roark-type performance the way he beat Tennessee and the Cats beat Tennessee back in 2011. It's going to come time to pass the football. What's the passing game going to look like when it is 3rd and 13 and you're at your own, 25-yard line when granted, Max Duffy can bail you out, but you're going to have to throw it. How does Lynn Bowden throw it? How does Sawyer throw it, more importantly?
Yeah, I think if I had to bet, just a guess, no knowledge here, I think they try to win this game with Lynn Bowden and see what he can do. And if they get into sort of a dire strait, then they may have to throw Sawyer in and just see how good he is. But yes, you're right. The game plan does change a bit if it is Lynn Bowden. Now, he is a dynamic playmaker. No doubt. And we've seen, like you said, Matt Roark come into a game. We've seen Randall Cobb come in and play quarterback in a couple of games. It can be done. Lynn Bowden, of course, a high school quarterback. He can chuck it around the field just a little bit, but I think the playbook does change. And I think that's one of the reasons why Mark Stoops and the staff and the players aren't being so up front with who might be starting, because they want to have a little bit of an element of surprise for Arkansas and a little bit of gamesmanship. And you can't discredit them for that. Arkansas has the same sort of situation. They've got 2 guys who could play, so why not give Arkansas something else to plan for? I think that's what Mark Stoops is doing ultimately.
And I really believe, and I had a conversation with someone earlier, they said, hey, how do you think it's going to play out? And I thought, if Kentucky, what's the best chance of Kentucky winning it? And I think if everybody is healthy and everybody can run the ball, I think if you throw it, if you throw it 15 times a game, that might be the limit, depending on the severity of Sawyer Smith's injury. You run it 55, 60 times, and it may be a boring game from the fans' perspective in terms of, man, they're just running it. But if it's effective and Arkansas can't stop it, I think you go to the body, and you go to the body some more. And Eddie Grant even said himself, he said, I got a little impatient in the South Carolina game. I think Kentucky runs the football tries to at will on Saturday.
And that run game, I think, also includes, even though it's not technically a run, some of those short passes and a lot of the QB run, especially if it is Lynn. Like you said, maybe not the most exciting game, but also would count as a win on the scoreboard.
That's right.
Chew up the clock, chew up the yards on the ground, make Arkansas beat you with their offense against Kentucky's defense. I think that's the formula.
Also, the UK volleyball team.
Yes.
They're going for win number 30 in a row in conference play. They take on Georgia. I can't think of the last UK team other than the team that went 38-0 to win 30 in a row of anything.
Yeah,
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, that streak dates back to the 2017 season. They're 4-0 in conference this season. And most importantly, in that streak, they're coming off the big win over Florida on Sunday, which is considered the second best team in the conference. So they got that win. Georgia's also a good team. They're 3-1 in conference, and they're going to play them tonight at 7 o'clock. So that'll be a big game for the UK volleyball team.
This starts the official changeover from sport to sport. We've got football. We've got it for another 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, counting high school. If Kentucky can go to a bowl game, we've got it for a few more months. We've got basketball. Girls basketball will begin. Boys basketball, high school basketball will be right around the corner. UK women. This starts that transition period where we are wide open busy. And there's, we try to squeeze 27 hours into a 24-hour workday. Because sometimes they are 24 hours.
But people out there watching are going, we don't want to hear you complaining. You're talking about sports. So there you go.
Well, if I can come sleep at your house.
Yes, it's busy, but it's fun. It's fun at the same time.
It's a lot of fun, but this is the time when the weather starts to change, everything changes, starts to turn over. Football, basketball, this is when we start getting really busy. And basketball was going to be here. I do want to mention quickly, Deja Merrill, torn ACL for the UK women. So a tough blow already for the ladies because we're talking about a 4-star forward. I mentioned to Christy Thomas yesterday, asked her, I said, how tough of a situation is this for Matthew? And she said, this is a big blow to a team that needs a little power in the middle. And she's a 6'1", 4-star forward who will miss this upcoming season. For Lee K. Howard, I'm Brian Milam. We've got to get some more work done before he heads out to do the BBN TV. CW Lexington, 5:30. He and Christy will be giving you Before the Madness. Then we'll have the madness, and then we'll recap the madness tonight at 11 o'clock.
A lot of madness.
A lot of madness.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and we'll check you later and recap all this fun stuff later on tonight at 11.